Sassan, you guys have a brew pub, yeah?
We do, yes.
So, you guys have taps for everything? Do you rotate? What's the plan there?
Well, that's actually kind of one of the ways that Mike and I got to know each other better. We do typically 2 beer dinners a year at the brew pub, and we featured Mike as one of the courses with his mead twice now. And so when we first opened up and were not able to keep up with all of the beer production on our own, we were allowed to bring in beers from other breweries, and we primarily focused beers that were being produced in the state. And as we grew, we started switching those taps out and putting our own beers on there. We're not one of those places that's got 64 tap handles. We pretty much only have 12 beers on tap, so it's not uncommon to come to the brew pub and find that some of the beers that we've produced at the brewery aren't available because we just don't have the draft space. And you could literally go across the street to the restaurant that's across the street or down the street from us and see that they have some of our specialty one-offs there. So we're probably producing something like 25 to 30 different beers a year, with maybe 6 or 7 of them being part of the core that we produce year-round. And so we would love to be able to put the mead on tap also. And that's an area where we've kind of discussed with Mike. He, as he mentioned, he had a day job, and the amount of time and energy that he could put into putting stuff into cooperage was kind of limited. So that's an area that we'd love to do is get more mead on tap, and also do that with a cider and get some ciders on tap. We do can here at the brewery. That's kind of our major packaging style is cans, and it fits really well with the Alaska lifestyle of folks just being outside. So as we get our feet underneath us, we definitely explore the idea of running some of the mead, well, maybe not the meads, but maybe more the ciders into cans also. Ooh. So got some different options to kind of play around with there.
Yeah. Are you guys thinking maybe of bringing out a line of session meads or summer meads, as a lot of people are starting to call them?
The one we've already started is a session mead, 6.5%. Yeah.
Nice. I guess I haven't had that one yet, Mike.
The Raspberry. No,
is that Raspberry? Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a bottle of Raspberry a couple weeks ago. All right. I didn't realize that was only 6.5%.
I know. It's full flavored, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's just not, it never even occurred to me. It was just like, maybe it's also, in a wine bottle. So,
yeah.
So, yeah, didn't look at it that way.
So, Mike, how did you make the leap from a home mead maker to a professional?
I think I kind of went insane. I think that's the best way to describe it. For the longest time, beer was my thing, and I was making mead as kind of a side thing to keep things interesting. And then I think I mentioned in early 2000s, 2001, 2, 3, I started getting serious about making mead, along with another group of guys in the homebrew club. But I still made a lot of beer. And then in 2006, some things happened. Lawrence had started his meadery down in Homer. Some things came together for me. I was able to get a retirement check from the place I'd been working at as I changed jobs. And so I had a little extra money coming in each month. And I still thought, as I traveled, I would taste meads, and I thought they just weren't very good. The commercial meads didn't hold a candle to the homebrewed meads that I've been tasting, both in Anchorage and when I would go other places outside. And so I wanted to show people what you could do with mead. It's a tremendous variety. We haven't even started tapping the surface of it, really. But that was my plan, and I never thought of it as a way to make money. It was just something that I really enjoyed, and I wanted to share with other people. And so that's why I did it. I started in a very small warehouse, 600 square feet with a little bit of a deck, and making 55 gallons at a time, and just slowly moved up from there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's cool. Do you guys do you make your own honey? Are there any hives around, or do you source it from somewhere? Is it local? Is it? I mean, I don't know how much local honey there could be in Alaska, but maybe there's more than I think. No.
No, there's probably not more than you think. It's a very marginal climate for bees up here. There are people who keep bees, and some of them have dozens, if not hundreds, of hives. But the honey here is very expensive. I had one guy who really wanted to sell me some of his honey, and we were kind of hemming and hawing, and said, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford it. And I talked with a couple of other people, so I knew kind of what it was going for. And he finally said, well, if you won't tell my other customers, I'll sell it to you for $12 a pound.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, if you were starting to talk at half of that price, we might be able to work something out. But, yeah, it's a good hive in Alaska. If you get 60 pounds out of a hive in the summer here, you're doing great.
Wow.
And it's really difficult for winter bees over here. Is anybody there a beekeeper?
Not yet.
No. You have to, the light and dark cycle is still important to them, so you have to have some way to give them some light. They also have to be able to get out of the hive without freezing to death to kind of go to the bathroom to evacuate, or the hives get sick. So it's not as easy as just putting insulation around the hive and then they stay over the winter. You've got to be able to feed them too. So it's a big expense. It's a lot of work. And the guys can sell tons of honey to tourists in little bitty jars, and it has the word Alaska on it. So there's no way, I can't really afford the honey here. Most of my honey comes out of Washington State, although I do get some from Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, different places.
It must cost a fortune to ship it.
Yeah.
I know what it is in 60-pound pails, so I gotta think about what it's like in a 55-gallon drum.
Well, the more you
story with everything.
Yeah, that's the way it is here. But the more you can ship at a time, the cheaper it is per pound, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I'm going to be working with these guys on is how can we, plan things out better, because I never did. I never tried to project. It was always just, every couple of months I'd look at what I had and say, okay, what am I going to do next? And I'd buy that next batch of honey. And I think with these guys, we can do a better job of planning that out and buying more honey at one time and reduce those costs.
Well, one of the exciting things is we're here at the brewery. We're sitting on 6 acres, and in basically the back third of our property, my wife is going to be developing a farm. Our spent grain is used by a lot of farmers, and we take the spent grain home and make compost. And my wife and I have quite a farm going at our place, and so. Just recently, she picked up about 40 apple trees that we're going to start planting in the back. She's really interested in getting some honey, some hives going. Like Mike said, it'll probably be really difficult to get enough honey to make, all of the meads with our own locally produced honey, but we could probably do 1 or 2 batches a year from the honey that we get from our own hives. And the whole farm here at the brewery is really in its infancy. We just started working on it literally a week ago, so it'll be a few years before we really get it to where we're actually producing anything of significance. But it's definitely kind of our hope to bring in apple trees. Alaska's good for growing berries, and so try to expand into maybe having some of our own currants and raspberries. But as Mike said, and as you all know, when you're making a batch of mead, it takes quite a bit. So it might just be, once a year in the fall we can make an all locally produced specialty edition run.
That'll be cool. So you can do like a kind of like Ken does with the Heart of Darkness. Do something that's all from stuff you've grown yourselves.
Yeah.
And I have a little small orchard in my backyard, and I'm thinking that I'll get a couple of hives next year and put on my roof. I've got a flat roof there.
Oh.
So I can get a little honey to kind of keep my hands in at home too. So.
Nice. That's kind of cool. How are you gonna keep the bees happy? Is heat from the roof gonna be what keeps them going, or?
Unfortunately, I'll probably have to just let them die off in the fall.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to try to winter them over, because it's 9 months. We have to feed them for 9 months, and you have to keep them protected from the weather for 9 months. Yeah.
And I thought Sudbury had a short growing season.
Yeah, it's very short here.
Dang.
Wow.
I guess I never really thought about it.
Unfortunately, whatever your hive produces, if you're to keep them alive during the winter, you probably wouldn't have much honey left over. So almost without exception, all the folks that have hives in Alaska, they euthanize their bees at the end of the season.
Wow.
That's kind of rough.
Yeah, it is. So you guys get the pollination capabilities, but beyond that, it's kind of bee-less.
Pretty much. We have wild bees here, but not honeybees. So there's a couple of varieties of wild bees, but they don't produce honey. And then, of course, we have yellow jackets and hornets and all that stuff. But
well, you guys ought to import the killer bees that are taking over down here, because those things, they'll just they just stick the middle finger up at everything. They're just like, yeah, F you, we'll do whatever we like,
Yeah, well, they come out of Africa, so maybe you may not like the climate up here.
But we got mosquitoes that pollinate here at an obscenely effective rate.
Well, if they're anything like the mosquitoes in the Upper Peninsula where I went to college in Michigan, they take off and land at the airport.
Yeah, Ontario's got mosquitoes too, and black flies.
Oh God, I hate those no-see-ums. Those things are just nasty. Hate them. Hate them.
Black flies are big fat things, and they take a chunk out of you.
Oh yeah. Wicked nasty, ucky things. I hate them.
At least they're quiet, unlike the mosquitoes, which keep you up all night.
Yeah. So, are you going to keep the Celestial labeling then, Sassan, or is it all going to go into, kind of get folded into Denali and become all Denali?
We're actually working on that. My wife does all of our trademark stuff, so her and Mike have been working together to try to procure that, and I'm not exactly sure what stage they're at in that, but we'd love to. I mean, I don't, mead is, even though it's new on the scene, has been around, as you all know, for thousands of years, and we got no problem paying homage to the work that Mike has done in the past, and folks are really familiar with it. So if we can manage to get it trademarked and make that name become part of the Denali, kind of part of Denali, then we would love to do that. And Mike also has the Alaska Meadery brand, so
right, yeah.
We'd like to try to incorporate not only the Celestial but the Alaska Mead portion too.
Okay, well, that would be cool. Maybe you could, like spread that across the mead and the cider or something.
Well, I think what Mike's been doing is he's been saving the Alaska Mead kind of for your really high-end products, right? Is that how you've been making the distinction, Mike?
High-end barrel-aged meads, yeah.
Ah, okay. So are you guys going to